Labs were like much more. Yeah, another thing that just kept bothering me through all these learning was how to see the app is working fine or not with my users. And as I just came across, like do some hacks and try to figure out things. So yeah, walk through that. Cool. So yeah, what does it like? What is the first like reliable app? Like unreliability is like say something is crashing, lagging, but how does a reliable app feel like? Any answers? Like for me personally, like when I use Zomato, I feel like delighted because they have such micro animations and stuff. But there's so many apps that I feel that it got my work done, and that's good enough. Like if it gets my work done even without bringing any negative emotion or frustration or anxiety, I think that's good enough for me. But if it delays, like I would tend to stick to it, right? Like I very rarely use Swiggy because Zomato, like they always have something. They keep experimenting with new animations and stuff. So you order stuff and look at their animations and bikes and scooter moving across. And like even as a new Android engineer, when I was building apps, one of the apps I built was Book My Show when I was in the service company, and I went to watch movie and I saw a mother trying to pacify her crying child by playing with the animation that I had built, and that was a great motivation for me to continue doing that. Yeah, coming to the have you faced this challenge? Like it's quite often that it happens that pin etc. keeps loading, or like when you really need it, it's not coming to you. And the most obvious thing is the crashes. Again, to book my show app, like even when at that time I think Crashlytics wasn't there. I used to use something called BugSense, but even before BugSense could capture stuff, there were like almost 10,000 tweets. So we were monitoring the Book My Show on Twitter, and we saw this tweets about the app crashing somewhere. So that was how we started fixing that. Right. So crashes are obvious, but like as the app complexity increases, right? Like now, so 10 years ago, like the apps were like five screens. Now the whole business is running on app. That's the primary surface where people are pushing their products and services. So the kind of reliability issues that happen is a lot, right? There could be like the app takes a lot to load. Sometimes even to launch, like it takes more than 10 seconds, it crashes and you don't even know about it. A lot of time happens that there are buttons that you're clicking on and it's not responding at all. And it could be that it's actually not responding, or like it's just not giving you feedback. And just that the thing that you have not put a click state is could be making it unreliable. Like I think yesterday I paid someone 3 times because they never showed the click, so I thought it's not working. And when the animation and scrolling etc. starts feeling janky, especially when you start going deeper into the social media apps, right? Like Reddit, I find it quite like I use Reddit a lot, and like the moment I'm on like more than 10 minutes, it starts lagging for me. So we try to figure out how the app issues impact people. I went down the rabbit hole and found something called quality of experience. So this term is used a lot by the video streaming companies, where you try to see like what's the experience of watching any video as such, right? Which is a measurement of perception the psychology, right? And to what degree there is a delight or annoyance in the user when they are watching something. And since then, I've been trying to use this framework to see like how an app is reliable or not. So how the psychology impact, and now you can take it across different things, not only apps, right? That if you have to wait for 100 milliseconds, it doesn't seem like a wait. It just feels instantaneous, and it feels that everything is working very smoothly. When anything is taking about a second or more than that, it feels like it's responsive, but like you notice some delay. But if it starts taking more than that, say 3 seconds, etc., you try to think about other things. And by 10 seconds, like even the app crashes, or by 10 seconds the user gives up. If your app hangs for more than 10 seconds on iOS kills that by default. That also is based on the same psychology, and why they do so. It's completely clearly mentioned in their human-computer interfacing guideline about how your apps will be working. So yeah, when we talk about app reliability, it's not just about crashes, but ensuring that when your user is moving from one screen to the other screen and interacting with things, it should feel responsive. It should feel that they are going through something. They are getting where they need to be to get their work done, and reach that point. So this is a graph based on the same term, right? So this is your quality of service, like how responsive it is. So towards the left, your app is highly performant, everything is working really smoothly, and your user is having really high experience on the scale of 1 to 5, about 5. And till some degree, it's like it just feels okay. But if you're towards this end, like user completely gives up on their app, they might kill the app. If they want, they can relaunch it, or they can just try your competitor. And in this area, they might not have given up, but they might have different feelings. So like, if your app is generally bad performing app, even if you put a lot of effort over here to increase your performance, what starts happening, your rating doesn't move much up. They don't feel that you have done a lot of good things. Even though to do this, you will need to put a lot of effort. But if you see at this corner, if your performance even like dips a bit, like this area, right, your rating falls by say 0.5% or 0.4, or even like say from 5 to 1. So if your user has habit of using really nice apps, really performant apps, if they use your app, they will compare to that. Or even if your current app is really high performant, your next release goes down on the performance, they will feel even the slight performance degradation a lot. So it's just based on like how their interaction has been about it. So yeah, what do we do about that? So crash is binary, either it's working or crashing. But I think we should move beyond the binary metric. So things like for how much time your navigation is succeeding. Is the user able to move from one place to other? Now we kind of use different kind of tools for this, like say Clever Tap or Google Analytics, that you tend to see that whether the user is going from button A to button B to button C and getting things done there. And if they are dropping off, you then hypothesize about why they are dropping off. A lot of drop off could also be more performance, but for that to happen, you need to sit down and then map your crash statistics and the Clever Tap data, the analytics data to figure out what was happening. Similarly, on the content load success rate, I think most of the social media are load pretty fast, but like I think things like Google News or even LinkedIn, like they take quite some time to load, and it just feels like things are still stale. So you try to refresh, etc., and the content has not succeeded over there. Then there is UI latency. Like it could be anything. Even if say you are making an API call on say main thread, or say you are making an API call which is taking a lot of time, and you generally move to next screen after making the API call. Then for user it might just feel like they are stuck on this screen. So even if there is something happening in background, it just feels unreliable. Yeah. So what should we then measure? I think so. I have like put few examples like of different domains and apps and how they can be monitored. Like, these are just few of the things. Right? So if there is a ride-hailing app like Rapido or Gojek, we generally tend to see like how many drivers are around. Right? Whenever you place the order, you want to see the drivers around. Like you can have a measurement like user should, as soon as they place the order, users should be able to see the drivers around for like within 1 second or 2 seconds, right? Because that gives a perception that okay, somebody is around. Even though I have worked for Rapido earlier, I think last week I was trying to book a cab and the drivers were not showing up. And then I just like I don't know whether they are even around or not. So I booked Uber in parallel. It's just that I got the confirmations when like I cancelled it, but like I was not aware whether like they are even around or not. So because that gave me whether will I get the taxi or not was a proper question in my mind just because of the human latency. Similarly, say fare estimate, because whenever you want to go somewhere, like if first you see there is something available, but then you also want to see for how much it will cost to reach somewhere, and if that delays, then again, so the user is trying to book a taxi and there are multiple smaller steps in between, and you should be measuring that. Now, yeah, if there is an e-commerce app, you are trying to shop for say jeans, and if you go to Myntra and it's not loading because it's a big billion day and it's hung up, so but you might need jeans maybe very urgently. It's like okay, let's switch to maybe as you or Tata Click or someone else, right? Sometimes like send us Swiggy Zini and get it ordered because this is not working. Similarly, the checkout screen, and checkout screen is one of the screens where users tend to see the price and then again one more time they decide whether I should be buying this or not. And if that has not loaded, you are just giving them a lot more time to take that decision, and they might just give up. Food delivery app. Now food delivery apps gets really personal. Like you open it when you are hungry, and you don't want anything in between you and your hunger. And if the menus are not loading or the screens are not showing up, like I mentioned, right? I like Zomato, but if it's raining, it might not show any restaurant around me. I like okay, time to install Swiggy now. So I go to that extent to even download a new app. Order confirmations, again, like if it's not confirming, then you become doubtful of whether you will even get your order on time or not, whether it will remain hungry. So do you just go downstairs or walk 2 minutes and get your food rather than ordering from some other place? Fintech app. Yeah, your account balances. That's like for fintech, it's really important, right? Because you have people's money in your bank account. I think I had experience with such a fintech app which was completely online. I think it's TBS something. I had put my money over there. Like the new app launched. I put my money over there, and next release started crashing. So it never went to the home page. Like not happening. Like I closed that account and I moved back to Kotak. Like not interacting, not engaging with that bank ever again. And again, transaction confirmation. Now, since it's a payment app or something like this, it could be getting used in multiple contexts, especially Google Pay, right? Like there's so many things that you place order urgently for, keep waiting for it. But it's really delightful when you see that it's paid like almost instantly, rather than like it shows you, will notify you when the order gets processed. Then you're like, I don't know what will happen. And multiple times it might have happened that if it's not processed in real time, like you close the app, you wait for that, and you almost forget. In background, it might get cancelled. I think it happens with Amazon Pay that they ask you to send you notification that the payment was not processed, and so try it again. Netflix, streaming apps. Yeah, when you want the entertainment in this 10-second videos era, you want it very quick, right? Like first you are deciding that you will not watch a reels, you will go watch YouTube or Netflix, or you want to listen to your favorite music, and if it's buffering, it just becomes pain. So you might want to. If you're building a streaming app, you might want to set your say goal as this is one of the goals that you have 99.9% crash-free users. For the users, the app is not crashing. You can have goal like 99% of the users should start seeing something within 1 second or 2 seconds. If you notice, like I generally watch Netflix and Amazon Prime on my TV. So Netflix, no matter how bad your network is, it streams something. The quality might be bad, the resolution might be bad, but they stream something. But the same doesn't happen on Amazon Prime. Like they try to fetch, I think, the best thing that they could get, but like it takes some time to stream that. In social media, you mentioned earlier as well, like how much time it takes to refresh the new post. Again, if there are videos and images, how much time it takes to load them. Yeah. So how do we monitor currently? So we have crash reporting tools, Firebase, Google, Firebase Crashlytics by default. Then we have performance monitoring, even though I think almost 70-80% people use Firebase performance monitoring in their application. Firebase Crashlytics in their application. Performance monitoring is only used by 30% of the apps that I've seen in the Google Play and App Store. So it's still not used for the value it can give. Then logs. Now logs, I think you can add it now in Crashlytics, but like a lot of team need unlimited amount of logs to figure out what's going wrong. And then we have analytics, which has more uses, even from perspective that PMs want to see how the funnel is going, etc. And as the engineer, what we generally tend to do is, if there's something crashing, you do go to Google Analytics and Clever Tab and see what the user was doing. And many a time that looking into those events are confusing because the data that your analytics tool might have collected is not in your crashing tool, and vice versa. So you are basically going through multiple dashboards and trying to figure out first stitch the data in your mind that what was happening, etc. Stitch the data in your mind and what was happening, etc. And then trying to find any clue, find pattern, which usually takes a lot of time. Like sometimes it takes even days, multiple days as well. And all of these tools are built for very specific purpose, right? Like analytics tool is mostly focused towards PMs for their marketing and conversion funnels. Crashlytics and performance monitoring, these are like for monitoring purpose, but not as much for the debugging purpose. Like Crashlytics still, but performance monitoring just shows you that okay, this API is slow, or this particular screen is rendering has rendering issue. So now you need to dig deeper, profile, etc., and figure out things from there. So when you have such different set of tools, it just becomes much more difficult to put together the information into a very insightful way and analyze why something is going wrong or right. Yeah, so what does it lead to? A lot of time gets wasted. I think I was recently I was at a meetup at Uber's office, and they mentioned that they came across a big issue, but they discovered only after 14 months. And then they have started investing into building their own internal monitoring tool because whatever they were using was not reliable enough to report something. It takes a lot more time to debug things. So like if you have 15-day sprint cycle, you have already like said like how many story points will pick up, etc. But now there is a bug in your production, and instead of figuring anything out in a few hours, it might take just a few days as well just to analyze. And after that, you will discuss with PM that okay, all these things are wrong, so maybe you need few more story points, so either it will get prioritized in that sprint or the next sprint accordingly. So, and if it's getting prioritized in this sprint, you are not shipping that feature, or you are spending 12 hours maybe every day. The issues take longer to diagnose. Sometimes it's not even apparent, right? Because a lot of time we hear that in the Google Analytics, the funnels are not conversing as it used to. Is there anything wrong in the app? But in your monitoring tool, you just ignore that the crash-free rates are the same, so it doesn't seem anything wrong. But those tools are very disparate, so it's just difficult to see if the fall in the conversion is because of technical issue or because the new UI is confusing and people are just living over there. And when an issue comes up, like it's just difficult to even reproduce because a lot of time it happens that the events, etc., you are able to see it, but not necessarily knowing you just know your user went at these 4 places. What happened between them, you don't know. What was the performance of the application between them, you don't know. The performance monitoring is also telling you that this screen renders slow, but why? When does it happen? Is it after some interaction or just by default? Every time it's happening slow, but it's certainly not every time it's happening slow because you built it. It was working on your device. So what's happening on customer device, you never know. So yeah, when we don't have the unified view of what was happening on the user's device, what were they doing, how was the app reacting, what starts happening up is whenever there is issue, you react to it. You are never proactive about the performance. Performance is not you are building as feature. Performance is always reactive. If something will not work, I will see. I'll try to figure out what will happen. Yeah. So why is monitoring mobile apps so hard? Because there's so many tools out there already. There's so many backend tools. Why can't they help? The thing is, we have all heard of how difficult monitoring microservices are. I'm trying to figure out the backend. Now imagine your mobiles as server, right? and each of your code is running on each of these mobile phones. So it's like nano services spread across world using your backend, and each has different context. The user who is standing in rain on the road trying to book a ride service might be experiencing something different from someone who is trying to book a cab from their office on Wi-Fi. Same app, everything same, and it's still a different experience that people go through, right? So there are like gazillions of factors that impact it. So how well you know which factors are those? Do you have insight into those? Just the stack trace doesn't give us that information. So yeah, like user experience is a true measure of reliability, but our monitoring tool just gives us the performance metric, not the experience metric. We don't even know that the user who faced this crash, what was the experience just before that? Like, was the app working really smoothly for them and it crashed? Or like, was it like, it launched late, it like jammed all across, somehow they reached there and it crashed. So we don't even get that kind of information. So yeah, limited visibility is there, so because of that we mostly keep reactive approach to these problems, but what we need is exactly opposite. Also on mobile, if you try to catch all the data and try to send all the data, it's not like backend where there's huge infra sitting in your site and it can just store it, right? Like it's on user's device, user device might be at 20% battery, and they have to walk or commute like 1 hour back home. And if your app is sending all the data, collecting everything, you might just kill the battery. And then it will pop up over there that this app is consuming a lot of battery, kill it, remove it. So you have to really balance that how much you want to collect just the essentials. The essentials enough to be able to figure out the issues. And then your monitoring tool has to keep adapting for newer frameworks, etc. So like till now your apps are in say Android native, and tomorrow somehow you decide that you also want to build newer features in React Native. Then does your tool provide that? How much insight it gives on the React Native side? Maybe for React Native you need a different tool. Now, even just for monitoring you have two tools. Let's discuss some real world examples for debugging struggles. These are just my struggles. Actually the first two. So I think Pune has this festival and it's on weekend. I built their app in 2011, yeah. And it was a festival app, so when you go to the festival, you will use it to see which artist is performing where, and you can set a notification, and whenever the artist will be, the time will come, it will send you alerts that you should move to that stage and will show you path to that stage, etc. And one of the issue that happened in that application was it was crashing for some users, but it was always working on our devices. Like we had like about 7 or 8 devices in the office at that point of time. It was working perfectly, but Samsung has launched this new shiny phone called Galaxy S3, and it was crashing on those. Like all the that was a flagship phone, so like everyone who was like Android and Samsung fans, they bought it. They were in the festival. One of the founders of NS7, they had bought it. These were crashing for him as well. So, but even if it was crashing, I couldn't do anything. So that person had to fly from Bombay to Pune. We sat with him and tried to figure out what was happening wrong. And what we figured out that just on Galaxy S3, it was taking a lot of memory to read the bitmap, right? Then it was running out of memory, and it was like just like in the stack trace it would be out of memory crash. And there was no elegant solution. The way I fixed it was like put a loading for 10 seconds and somehow brute force garbage collection by executing it 3 times. That just do it. It kind of worked. It never crashed in the festival, so I think it worked. At Gojek, there used to be this other issue where a lot of drivers would raise this ticket with customer support that they have taken. So basically, the way it would work was if they have taken 3 rides in a go, they will get a performance bonus. So and if they do 5, they will get more. But if they say decline anyone, then they won't get the bonus. So we'll get a ticket that I have taken all the 3 orders, but I have not got the bonus. And then the customer service guy will examine a few things and then they will add the bonus to their balance. But when we talk to them, this is the biggest ticket that we get every day, the thousands of tickets every day, and our monitoring tool was not telling that. So what we did was we added Perfecto. Sorry, not Perfecto. I think it was Profiler. It's a tool by Facebook. So we added Profiler and started sending that data to backend and visualize on Grafana. So the way we will do it, so it itself is a very performance intensive process. So what we will do is whenever we hear of certain IDs, drivers that they are facing issue, we'll get the IDs and just enable this logging for those 5 people or 10 people and see what's happening. With the enough samples, we figured out that we are at a state where the driver is trying to close the app, and when order comes at that point of time, it will never render for them. It will expire in background. It will get marked as they never picked up. I mean, it will never be visible to driver as well. So when they come back, it's a new app. There is no pending order, nothing. And at a scale, these numbers were huge, right? And every customer service call is certain cost, right? But because of this monitoring, we were able to figure out this particular issue. We made changes to the APIs and we fixed it. And it just saved a lot of money in customer support over there. This was I was recently talking to someone at Amazon Music that how they monitor their performance issues and what are their struggles. So one of the things that they are trying to do is move from native to React Native, and they believe that even their native app doesn't have a good screen time rendering metric. So on average, it takes them about 2 seconds to drill down a music album or something like that. But they want to bring it under 1 second, and they want to keep the metric same even when they go to React Native. The way they are trying to do that currently is they run the application on one device, they have automated a test, and they try to see that it's performing that way or not. But the problem is Android has millions of different devices, and it works differently on each of them. It runs on the test device, but we really want to find out that which are the devices out there which the users are using, which is not showing it on the 1 second. To do that, they need a certain kind of monitoring capabilities that could help see them, trace them, that you start monitoring at point A, end the monitoring at point B, and give me all the details of what is happening over there. It could be just the rendering screens or animations or making API call, but all these details together you'll be able to see what consumes a lot of time, right? So that's one hurdle that we are facing. Coupang is something in South Korea. It's like Amazon. I was talking to them as well, and they have a very different kind of challenge. So their target of crash-free users are 99.98%. Right? but they are okay if it goes down till 99.93. So there is this big window of 0.05%. But they never get that window because they have 0.03% of unexplained crash. They don't know what the root cause is. So the window is 0.0.2. So whenever something is crashing, the team is on high alert every time. And they have to fix that immediately, otherwise it will go below 99.93. The team is always on toe. That's the reason they were trying to figure out that how can these things be, like how can they get more visibility into even the crashes and resolve those so that they can increase the window for themselves and focus on the real work. So what are the expectations from monitoring tool? I think first is all the user action, app events, logs, errors. It should be one place so that if an issue is happening, you don't you open one dashboard and see what's going on. I think the current workflow is something is going wrong, you get to told from somewhere or Firebase. You try to get access to certain dashboards, maybe analytics or clever tab or expand because you might not have access. Then you try to understand. If you don't understand, then you bring your senior engineers, like I don't know what's going on, or someone who has been working on that for much longer if you are a new person in the team. But it doesn't have to be as complicated. Like you have shipped the code, and if you get all this data, you'll be able to figure out that what the user was doing and how to reproduce it. The second one is it should be in real time. Like a lot of these tools also take time to. They have different kind of algorithms that when they will show up on the dashboard, and when you send a release, say on Friday night, you want to go home knowing that it has went well, but then you have to wait for your release and to get adopted by a certain number of people and for it to show up on your dashboard. And later at night, like 9 o'clock, you will get to know that, okay, there is new crash in this. So now you need to work from home late at night. If it's like if for one user was adopting, it was crashing, you should have known. And the next is like you should be able to like filter the data, like filter group by run SQL queries, find patterns, because that's what's more natural than looking at the graphs. Like it's good for that initial insight, right? But then you want to analyze from different perspective that what was happening. Like is it only a certain city that is happening in, or like certain kind of devices happening on, or like is it the size of a phone that is impacting? Anything could be wrong. And then have a fair pricing model. I think this comes if you're using paid tool. I was a user of a paid tool at Gojek. The bill ran into $1 million per year, and I had to remove it because the CTO won't approve. Yeah. So what can you do about it? I think there are multiple strategies. Even with the current set of tools like Go Analytics and Crash Analytics, the performance monitoring, you can push it ahead to extent. You can also use other tools to. You can also like have a data dump at some other data lakes, and then build your own custom dashboard which brings everything together. You can use a third-party tool. Could be, so there are a few, like there's Sentry, there's like Installer, Embrace, Bugsnag. Or you can self-host and use measure.sh. That's what I am building currently. It's open source, it's Apache 2.0. Just like say Retrofit is Apache 2.0, this is also Apache 2.0, so you can use it without any worry. Yeah. So how can we make the most out of, say, Firebase suite of tools, right? In the Firebase, you can capture custom keys. You can log items throughout your journey, right? You should use, even if your company doesn't use Google Analytics, if you use Google Analytics just for monitoring purpose, it will give you breadcrumbs, so you will be able to see where all the user went. So you don't have to rely on any other tool, right? With every class, you will get to know that what the user was, where all the user went, especially for the events that you have tracked. You should like deploy everything. Yeah. So if you add say logs over here, right? There will be a lot of logs and a lot of keys over there. You might just reach the limits of Google Analytics because you are capturing too much data. A hack you can do is something like use monitoring flag. It's just like feature flag, but like you can enable disable monitoring on the fly. So when you're rolling out something new, maybe you want to capture that, but switch off all the older feature so that you don't exhaust your budget for the free monitoring quota on Google Analytics. And you should certainly like set up crashlytic alerts. Like it's like writing a Google Cloud function, which can just like send you alerts according to how you want to see it rather than the current velocity alert. I think in last 15 years, the only thing I've done with velocity alert on Slack is mute that channel and and like set up a filter in Google that just delete it. I don't want to see it. Yeah, there are some limitations. So if you are tracking logs and keys and events, yeah, you need to know what might go wrong. So you can only be tackled. Like it could not be explanatory. It can't be that something new has happened which you didn't anticipate. Then it becomes a problem, and now you have to log it again, release it maybe, and it will get fixed now a month later maybe because you have to see the logs. So you have to go through the review cycle, and then the adoption cycle, and then you will finally be able to analyze it. This dashboard also doesn't allow you to slice and dice the data exactly how you want it to be. Sometimes it even helps to know what was on the screen of the user, how was it rendered, etc. But you can't capture UI state over there. And Firebase samples the data, so you might be hearing that like someone known to you might be facing the issue, but you never see it over here because it's sampled out. So you might not see like one of the cases that has happened. Like I think now there is monitoring, but at Rapido we launched something in Coimbatore, a new feature, but the whole thing was sampled out. Like we didn't give any like significant amount of data that it alerted us that anything is wrong. They're like all good, and then we went 100% and we started seeing crashes. So that problem starts happening with sampling as well. The other thing that you can do is building a monitoring tool, but it takes a lot of effort. You can hack in here and there. I think I was talking to one of you about it as well. Like the example that I gave about monitoring with Profilo, right? So that was a hack that we did at Gojek to make the best out of that situation. So like you might not want to build a whole crashlytics and performance monitoring, but define like what kind of issues you want, what kind of data you want, and then build specifically for that. I had also built values app where there was a monitoring challenge during that point of time where what we used to do is just send JSON to a backend, a MongoDB backend, and then analyze it over there. So whatever I want to send, I can just keep sending. So I at least know what is going wrong over there or not. You need to identify, you need to determine that how real time or delayed you want the data to be. Like Real time will obviously take a lot more resources, a lot more API call. You should be able to scale the backend. Yeah. So the first thing that comes to is the SDK for the data collection, right? So you can build a complete SDK or you can use open source SDK. I think one of the things that I've done much earlier in the career was using Mixpanel's SDK to send event, because they used to send event, so it's like log. Just use it to send whatever I wanted to, rather than to Mixpanel to my own server. So I never built that. Now for Measure we are building our own SDK. It's much more customized for performance monitoring and stuff. Yeah, you'd also need to make sure that even if you're collecting a lot of data from your SDK, it should be performant. It can't be that your SDK itself is causing crashes or increasing your launch time or adding delays to your app performance. Make sure that it's optimized for the platform that you're using. App hang on Android could be different from app hang on iOS, right? Like, I think Android consider an app not responding in 5 seconds. iOS does that in 10 seconds. Hanging screens, etc. are the other things, right? So you need to know what the underlying OS guidelines are and then build accordingly. And your custom metrics should evolve with your needs as well. So like maybe to begin with, you just need very superficial kind of logs and events. But as you get more, you also want to analyze more and go much deeper. And it's a rabbit hole that you can get into, but like yeah, make sure that you know what you actually want and capture those and evolve those according to how you're going. Like I think one of the charts that I mentioned earlier, like if your app is already performing high, people will expect you to go up. Even if you go down a slighter bit, it will be having huge impact on the performance, at least the perceived performance of your application. So that is essential that you evolve in your monitoring approach. You also need a scalable backend to store and process the data. For every crash, if you are using ProGuard or DexGuard or R8, you need to desummolocate it. Even on iOS, you need to do that. All these, so say if your app uses 10 different APIs, this and all those 10 different APIs are microservices, it will have certain scale. Your monitoring tool needs to be on much higher scale of some of all those 10 services, because this will keep getting data very frequently. In the data also size will be high. So it needs to be really scalable. And certainly the compliances that comes with it. So I think in Europe we have GDPR, in India also a lot of fintech companies want their data to be in India, or like even now government of India is bringing this data privacy law where you can't send certain kind of data to a different country, especially for fintech, right? So if you're logging say user ID, then Firebase is sending it to US or wherever, you don't know. They never reveal you where they will send. I have tried talking to them and like we can't. I don't know where it will go. We go to any of our servers. But the upcoming law will tell us that it has to be in India. So how will you do it? And the dashboard. So this is the most important part, because it should not need your tech lead or the most senior engineer or the CTO to understand what the dashboard is or what the issue is, right? Like any engineer who is capable enough to ship something to production, they should be capable enough to understand what is going wrong. And it will not just come from their skill, like the UI should be such. If the UI is easier in the dashboard, it becomes much easier to understand. So it should be intuitive, it should be customizable, because say I am working in one part of the application, the other engineer is working in the other part of the application. Both of them should get the relevant kind of data, right? Like, especially if it's a big application. Yeah, and if you go from say like if you have like 100k daily active user, and in a month you are running a IPL advertisement, and a lot of users are coming on an app, and your monitoring tool is not ready, then it will crash, and you won't even know that anything is going wrong or not. So with all these scale-up actions and events, you need to plan for that as well. You also need to keep doing like refinements with the different platform updates, be it iOS, Android, if there is any bug fixing that needs to be done. Tomorrow engineer want to start using Compose, but your monitoring tool only takes care of XML layouts. Then you need to start building the monitoring tool first, and then you can go to the feature. So these kind of things starts happening as well. And then you need to make sure that you again like scale up the servers, etc., to accept the newer loads. So is building a internal monitoring tool a rewarding thing? It is. I have built in different pieces in different teams. One aspect at one place, the other aspect at another place. It helps you go very deep into mobile app, be it like even the psychology side of it or the engineering side of it. You try to think the way user is thinking, the way user psychology work, and then you try to build tools around using that. But it takes a lot of investment. Like not everyone builds it. I've talked to a lot of companies like Misho is like a lot of companies that I talk to, they're saying we are thinking of building something. Like Misho is one. Swiggy, Zomato, I've heard that they are also thinking of something. Amazon Prime Videos already has one, but the music team doesn't use that because their needs are different, so they wanted something else of their own. Uber has started building last, I think, 2-3 years. So you can imagine that what scale they have this budget dedicated for a 10 people team, right, who will only build monitoring inside a company. And you need senior engineers in this, like who know how performance work, who know different aspect of mobile apps in and out, different aspect of even scaling up servers, etc. I'm building measures, so like I mentioned, like I've built it multiple times in different pieces. The last company I was at was Rapido. The next thing I needed to build was a better monitoring tool. My co-founders were at Grow. They were also on the similar journey that they needed to make the internal monitoring tool better. And yeah, we were meeting like one Friday at one pub, and we're like, this is what we are doing, and we're like, why don't we just design and do it in open source and out there talking with people, taking their feedback and trying, let's see how it goes, because if we all are feeling pain, there might be a lot of other people feeling pain as well, right? Like that's when I started picking people on LinkedIn, trying to see what they're going through. Gaurav was also like one of the first person I picked over there, like how do you do it? Talked to a lot of companies like Spotify and Gusto, etc., SoundCloud as well. What do they do? They have also built an internal tool which essentially does similar thing that brings the data together. There's also really what Uber is doing. It's search for Uber Healthline. That's their internal tool. So you can get insight into what they are doing. Yeah. The takeaway is like you can stop relying on just the class 3 users. You should have certain mechanism to bring together the whole user action and events and issues together. Be it you making a custom dashboard or linking together audio file based tool or using any other tools. So this tooling fragmentation should go out. That will enable you to be proactive, know of your issues early on, and you should also like prioritize metrics like service level objectives, like all the say video should start streaming in 1 second or the apps should load in 1 second, this kind of stuff, so that you know how exactly the app is working. Yeah, I think I think last week Sudhir, who is from Turtlemint, he pinged me. He integrated Measure in his app. He was just telling me something over here as well, that how he's finding it. We can tell the how he's using Measure currently and then how he is liking it. Tirth, can you come?
Hi guys, I'm audible. So my name is Sudhir. I've been working in Android since last 14 years. Currently, I'm mobile architect in a company called as Turtlemint. We have a very small team, very focused team. We have 3 flagship products. We use Firebase in and out for observability, which is measuring everything. We have written a custom instrumentation, etc. But we feel we were lagging behind somewhere because we are a fintech and insurance tech domain, and we need to cater to our customers as soon as possible. Because let's say, for example, they are purchasing a policy or insurance, that's a ticket size for us. So to get back to them in the split seconds, that's a business for us. I have been following Gandharva and other co-founders since long through communities, etc. And I said, why not give it a go? So I launched Measure last week. So one of the key features which I noticed is the amount of time you have to wait on Firebase to get any analytic event. You get first on Measure. It's that fast for release monitoring and crashes. That's one of the features. But yeah, I'm open for questions and queries regarding more about Measure, performance enhancement, etc. in general Android.
Sam, thanks, Sudhir. Yeah. If you got any value out of this talk, do like us on GitHub, give us a star. And if you have any questions, something to tell me.
Sir, how it works? How it works? We have to add APIs or other things, and we have to add any logs using its function. How it works?
So it's a open source and self-hosted thing, so you have to host it on your own infra, and then you can integrate the SDK. It's like one-line integration. Post that, a lot of insights are collected automatically, but if you really want to log something very specific, you can use the track event API to do so as well.
So most of the configurations are done automatically. If per se you have to measure some specific function, load time, etc., you have to create your own spans. That's the only thing. But you can get up the SDK integration is really easy. You can just get it done in a half day. That's it.
And the hosting thing?
Hosting thing, if you could self-host, that's better. You would probably require your SRE or DevOps help to get it done.
We have a DevOps team, but
Yeah.
how much time?
Let's say a couple of days if DevOps are faster.
We have IPL in like 2 weeks, right? Not a
Yeah.
2 weeks, I think. But
Yeah.
it's a very great product.
Yeah, it depends. So like the first person who used it was, first company who used it was Polo. They are into this property, some business, and the Android guy over there had never touched backend, but they went through it's just that it was much easier to get the access to server. So he did it within 45 minutes, and in next 10 minutes the SDK was integrated and he could see the session over there. But depending on how complex it is for you to get access to the infra or get the infra provision.
No, I can onboard the guy. That's not
Yeah, and we are also, if you go to the depot at bottom of it, the Discord link. So you can come on Discord and we can help you setting it up as well. So like we can guide you over the call, we can't touch your infra as such.
And one more thing, we are like sending app logs to the Kibana to real-time monitoring what happens on a user's device. Okay, apart from the Firebase for crash monitoring, but what other tools I can integrate with the measure.sh like Firebase and other things?
You can't integrate to like this is like in this like it collects all the data to itself and shows it on its own dashboard. Later on, like we will also be launching SaaS apart from the self-hosting product. So in the SaaS, we will have this capability that will give you a webhook if you want to take the data out to some other place, etc. as well. You can do so.
If you're looking for data, I can show it on my laptop. Probably that might.
Yeah, like you can also like we have time.
You can take one question. It supports mobile, Android, iOS.
Yeah, we have the Android SDK out now. iOS will be out. It's early March, right? Yeah. By this month, iOS will be out. I think in next 3 to 6 months, Flutter and React as well.
One more, how much is the SD size after installation?
I think the SDK size in KBs, right?
It's in KBs.
Yeah. Like it's like I think
It's very small.
1.5 or something.
Will it work on Red?
Yes, it is.
Are there any YouTube videos?
We are just 5 people team, just coding mostly, not making videos. I sometimes make memes and post it on LinkedIn, but that's about it.
We have to follow documentation.
Yeah,
DFM.
and like you can come on Discord, like if you face any challenge, like we are there. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot.